Hello, everyone. This is another episode in which I interview an expert on communication. And today I'm interviewing my very good friend, Alexander. Alexander has been studying communication, communicators, and storytelling for years. He has been working closely with David Phillips, who, in my opinion, is one of the best public speakers in the world. Alexander is a TEDx coach. You can find his LinkedIn and website and all other details. They will be in description. So, Alexander, how are you?
I'm good. Thank you so much, Rowan. Thank you so much for having me here as well. It's a great honor to be a part of this. So yeah, I'm doing very well. I want to welcome all you to right now it's sunny Sweden. Once in a while there's sun and it's not very warm. It's only 20 degrees, but every Swede knows that when the sun is out, everybody sits and stares at the sun. And I know that foreigners look at us and they're like, what are you doing? It's like, it's the sun. It's barely out there. So once in a while, you just stare at the sun. So that's a good advice for you, whoever you see, a foreigner that might look like a Swede, you can always recognize them by they're always staring at the sun when they're on their holiday. So yeah, but I'm good to answer your question.
Come to India. Here you will find sun for almost 10 months and hot enough to fry a human alive.
Yep. I am. It's on my bucket list. So yeah, I definitely will come and visit in India.
So Alexander, I was reading about mental models, and one of the mental models says that you find the problems in everything. You think negative, not exactly negative, but if you have to give a presentation, then think, what are the things that can go wrong? What are the mistakes that I can make? List them down and try to avoid them one by one. So this is the theme of today's interview. So my first question is from the start. What are the worst ways to start a speech? I want you to tell me about the worst ways to start a speech that are common. That is, many people do these things. These practices are common, but they are the worst. So what are the worst ways to start a speech?
There are so many of them. So
Tell
if I would say the most common, most common ones. First of all, lack of preparation. That is a way to start. So you have no idea what you're doing. You have no idea what the topic is. Well, you have some idea what the topic is, but you haven't prepared for it. It can be that the technology is not working. That's also a worse way to start. That if you have a Zoom call, that if you do, forbid to share your screen, that doesn't work. It's the wrong PowerPoint presentation. But I would say that not handling the nervousness is the worst way to start a presentation, because I truly believe that there's one thing that people need to understand, and that is to starting to take the responsibility of what you are. And that is when you're booking a meeting, when you're having a presentation, when you're a communicator, when you're going to deliver something of some sort, it's your responsibility as the presenter to deliver that, to be prepared, to put yourself into the right mental state of mind. Because it's not the audience. They're just there for the ride. So I say this, that you are contagious. So whatever you are transmitting, however you have prepped yourself, that is going to be the result of the ones that are the beholders, the ones that are the recipients, the ones that hopefully will listen to your delivery. So yeah, those three things I would say: that lack of preparation, not having the technical setup in order, and also the mental state that you're in, that you're not present, you're not taking that responsibility. You're hoping that the PowerPoint will do its magic. So those would be the worst ways that I would say people unfortunately are using in today's world.
In my opinion, lack of preparation would be the worst, because if someone wastes even a second of my time, I feel very bad. And some of the speakers do not respect the time of their audience. So if they're speaking in front of 100 people, they are wasting 100 man hours if they are speaking for an hour. Without preparation.
I know.
100 man hours.
I know. It's mind blowing. I'm frustrated because it's still, you kind of put the right there. It's you're wasting people, like the most precious thing that we have in life.
Yeah,
time.
Exactly.
And you're just taking it for granted. Just going, look, oh, I'm sorry. And I would say this also to add on as the fourth and final one. when people go in and using really questionable, weak rhetorical words when they start, such as people come up and go, so today I was thinking about having a small presentation, or I'm trying to deliver a delivery of this presentation. The weak words here is like thinking, small, trying. You're not going to think. You're not going to go up and do a Jedi mind trick and going, excuse me, so today I'm going to... and now you have the presentation. You're not thinking it. You're not transmitting it over the process of thought, or you're having a small presentation. I always love this. This is one of my favorite ones. When I see people and I hear people going, oh, so today I'm going to have a small presentation. In my imagination starts just trembling down that you have built a PowerPoint that only covers like this tiny bit of the screen. It's like a tiny, super tiny one. Or that they have a tiny presentation or a small presentation of maybe 2 or 3 or 5 slides, but then you look at the deck number in the corner, it says 12 out of 95, you got another 83 pages. I'm sorry, but that's not a small presentation. So using questionable, weak rhetorical words are also a way of because you tell them like, my value to this presentation, it's not very high. I kind of set the bar just a little bit below. So that would be the fourth and final one.
So you are like priming the audience. You are stating at the start that you won't get much value out of it. It's
exactly.
So second question.
Yes.
Biggest body language mistakes that speakers, even famous speakers, commonly do. One that I see is keeping their hands here. One I see is repetitive gestures. They always keep speaking with this particular gestures. And I see this in parliament a lot. In every parliament, USA, UK, India, everywhere. So politicians normally speak like this. So what are other mistakes that you observe?
You kind of nail it there, buddy. It's the body language. I could talk for hours just about body language. There's so I don't even know where to begin.
I give you 45 seconds.
The 45 seconds. So humble. Thank you so much, sir. No, okay. So here's the thing. David and I've been working with David for the last, it's coming up to a decade now. And the thing is there that when he studied, and there's an analysis system that we have that he developed over 5,000 speakers over the amount of 7 years, and it's 110 steps. That means that you have 110 core skills when you communicate, or I would say that you lack when you communicate. So a couple of these things, and what you're talking about is the entering a non-neutrality posture, non-neutral posture, having your hands in front of your chest, or having it as a forklift, or the bunny, or the T-Rex, and there's a ton of them. But I would say this, that the only thing that people need to remember this is that it is a protection from that potential threat that we are facing. And the potential threat is that there might be a question. There might be somebody who's interrupting you. There might be that, you're just nervous in front of the audience. And it's a way of protecting, because you kind of caress yourself, you hold yourself, you protect your chest, and you protect your entire entity as a human. But what we do forget with that is that in the majority of cases that you're only then transmitting. Because when you're standing, you're speaking, you're transmitting with your voice. Looking at studies showing that from 1960 up to today's date, they can't really exactly know the exact number, but around 70% people start trusting you of your nonverbal communication. There's studies that show different, but around like in an average, 70%. But if you lock up your body language like this, it limits you, right? But what I found, and what you can figure out, is that you mirror everything that you see. Even you mirror even what you hear. So like you said, with priming people with questionable, weak rhetorical words, they start questioning what you're saying, and they might even kind of pass that forward, the questionable and weak rhetorical words. But when it comes to the body language, Ron, then it's this: if you're standing like this, and the audience are looking at you, there's a huge likelihood that they will start, because of the mirror neurons they have here in their frontal lobe and the temporal lobe, they will start mirroring your behavior. That means that they're going to start going into this posture. They're going to take a distance. They're going to place themselves away from you, meaning that they're not really with you.
Yeah.
They're not immersed into your delivery. So yeah, I would say that all the different postures, whatever locks your body, it's not public enemy number one, but it's really close to being one, because you start, like if you enter neutrality instead and just become neutral, letting them hang, let your arm hang and just listen to the signals that are sent through from your brain to your cells and muscle groups out in your fingertips, then it will just become like a dual highway of communication. So I'll be sending, you'll be receiving, and then transmitting back, because then you will start, you will open up your body language when I speak about something, if I'm open, and so on and so forth. So it's like a cartwheel right now that's going downwards, but we should just do it the opposite way and going upwards instead. So become more open. That is one of the key features I see all the time. Like, yeah, and I would almost have to use impossible rhetorical words, like always when I coach people, see this behavior. And then the second thing to your question was the repetitiveness of non-functional gestures. Every time I open my mouth, it's the same gesture. You said and referred it to politicians. I can refer to the majority of leaders, people who are in sales, people who are just, they think that they're using gestures to show something, but we have to remember that a gesture is to clarify something, to show that something is expanding or something is decreasing, if it's high or if it's low, or if it's something that's moving over time. It has to just, and if people can just connect that little dot to say that, okay, so what I'm thinking up here, I need to make sure that people are seeing it and they can also hear it when I speak it. So just these three things that I did, thinking, showing, speaking, are emphasizing the words that are coming out of my mouth, correct?
Correct.
The thing is, humans, in the majority of cases, will first see what you are showing them before they even heard what you said.
This is kind of obvious. It was the way we evolved. For majority of our evolution time, we are communicating only through body language. Cats, dogs, monkeys, all those animals communicate mostly through body language. And as modern humans, we have spent only a fraction of time. Our evolution is much, much longer. And for all that time, we are communicating just through body language. So it is kind of obvious that we understand body language better than we understand words.
Yeah.
Correct me if I'm wrong.
No, you're totally correct. I mean, looking back 250,000 years, we have been, okay, we didn't speak, but we were the we made noises, and then we exemplified by using our hands. So, and yet again, the last 30 years we spent, and this pisses me off because I really love it, but PowerPoint as an example is one of these things I so love PowerPoint, and to the extent that I can in the beginning, when I started working together with David, I could create these cool PowerPoints and then just show them to my friends and family over the weekends, but they weren't as excited as that I am or was. But PowerPoint is the greatest tool. But for the last 30 years, we kind of spent every single moment when we want to deliver something and just creating that PowerPoint and throwing it into different offices and different, even different branches in different offices. And, it's like getting married in the Western world. You have to borrow something, you have to take something new, and then you have to add something blue to it. It's a type of similar thing we're doing with the PowerPoints. It's just passed around from, department to department. And once again, I can speak for hours about PowerPoint as well. So you fully understand it's both communication and the PowerPoint. I can speak for several hours. Anyways, that wasn't answering the question. So answering the question and saying that you were right on that is that it needs to stop, and it needs to stop right now. That's just, it's done. Otherwise, the next generation, I mean, your generation is okay. The next generation, I think they're not okay, because
They are not.
no, I mean, I'm just going to communicate with you. What? No, I was just, what? No. I think that we're going back in time, honestly, that people are going to stop talking to each other, and we're just like, as we're doing as civilized humans, and we're just going to go back into the Stone Age again and going, I think we're going in that direction if we don't do anything about it. Of course, it's over exaggerating what I'm saying, but you probably still get the point, dear listeners.
To summarize, when we feel threatened, we make these defensive gestures like this, and we close our body language. So if you want to look more confident, and if you want to connect better with people, you have to use open gestures. Second thing, if you are repeating the same gesture, then you are making a mistake. Make sure you use gestures only that define your words, that are connected to what you are speaking. That way, both your words and your gestures will be amplified by each other. Correct? Third question.
Yep.
Common mistake people make while choosing the content. Because most of the time, they go to Wikipedia, copy, paste, and then they learn it by heart, and then they speak it without heart.
Yeah. I don't even know. I'm just sighing here. It's there's a differentiation, which I really hope that people are starting to I believe they are, but still. And that is that you have your personal version of yourself, correct? I mean, you, Rowan, I've spoken to you off camera, not recording, and then I speak to you here in this business setup, right?
Yeah.
And you and I, we're the same. There's no difference between the business version of Alex and the business version of, and the private version of Alex. We are the same.
Exactly.
I don't put on a face. I don't put on a role. I'm always true. And I believe that is the key thing, that what people commonly do is, just like you said, they take something, they copy it, they learn it by heart, and then they stand up there, but they forget that huge thing, connecting the soul to it. So my fight here is to make sure that people understand that there should not be any difference from the version that you are when you are yourself, when you speak to your friends, your family, your coworkers, off topic, and the worst version of you when you are, delivering a presentation, when you're having a meeting. These two should not be so far away from each other. I'm not saying they have to be in the right moments exactly the same, but at least to kind of pull down so they're some sort of equate, like if I can't even say it because I'm just so frustrated that there's this differentiation, but that they're even, just to have that mindset. So I mean, a lot of mistakes are made. A lot of people are putting out whatever they read, whatever they want onto again, I have to mention PowerPoint. Use the PowerPoint as a handkerchief. So they're having their PowerPoint over there. They're having a PowerPoint maybe as a shared screen. And the only thing they do is read off of it. That's it.
Yeah.
But if you do instead just say, you know what? I'm not going to show any PowerPoints today. I'm going to learn the material, and then I'm going to tell them what I remember.
Yeah.
Because the thing is, as soon as you put something on a piece of paper, or you put something on a sheet that you share on screen, or you share on a PowerPoint, all people know exactly what you're going to talk about. But if you don't do that, and if you avoid that, the only thing will happen is that what you share is what people then say, oh, okay, cool. That is what that person knows, and that is what the person wanted to deliver. There's not going to be questions like, oh, now that person missed that stuff and that stuff and that stuff and that stuff and that stuff. And then you might say, Rowan, Alex, but what if it that you miss out on something? Yeah, but what if you miss out on something? Well, how about this? You learn the material that you need to. You deliver it in the way that you want to, and you do it with that heart, your personality connected to that. And then just to catch everybody, you create that document, that PDF or the PowerPoint with all the material, all the stuff, everything they need to know. And you send that afterwards to them as a reminder. Because then they can see like, oh, nice. Okay, so here's the points that the person went through. Oh, but also, oh, that's interesting. That's cool that they mentioned that, but I read it here instead.
Mm-hmm.
So there's always that backup. But I don't know if people think that extra mileage, because honestly, it's a framework that people are working in. And I know that people and listeners and the viewers that are going to watch this are going to say, but Alex, you know, that there's this template that we're in. It's this framework that we're working from. And it can be either cultural, it can be business related, like the organization is structured this way. Yeah, I know that. But some down that line, someone somewhere have to stand up into that framework and say, you know what? We should try at least once to see a different approach to it. And that is, I mean, from our perspective, both mine and David and the entire team, is that whatever business that we work with, that theirs to take that, you know, both implementing more storytelling in their communication. I mean, meetings, they're having the better setup when it comes to the digital era that we have embarked on, and just creating less PowerPoints or smarter PowerPoints, talking more from the heart, having structure in their speeches and their presentations and their meetings. Whoever that we have worked with that dare to take that on, every single time come back with the same feedback. Why didn't we do this earlier? Why didn't we do this earlier?
Like, there are 2 points that I want to highlight. One thing that you mentioned is people are just reading from PowerPoint. So in my opinion, as a speaker, if a speaker cannot devote enough time to at least learn all the content that they are going to deliver, they do not have time, or they do not have passion to at least go through the content, and they are just reading, I believe that is connected to the first question we talked about, but I believe they are cheating with their audience. And as a speaker, it is the worst thing a speaker can do, wasting their time. Yeah. So please continue if you want to say anything else. Otherwise, I can.
No, I it's just you know, we're on the same like bandwidth when it comes to this, and it's once again, step up to the plate, take that responsibility that you have been given. Someone has thought somewhere, even, you know, if you're not a public speaker, if you're a presenter or communicator, someone have asked you that question. Excuse me, in 2 weeks, can you have that presentation and delivery for us? I mean, that's one of the coolest features and the coolest questions someone can ask you, because they rely on that you will deliver that message. So yeah, amping up what you said, step up to the plate.
And if I attend a workshop or a speech, and the speaker at the end or after the speech sends me an email or a hard copy, if this is a physical speech, then I would feel great that the speaker cares about my learning. He cares that whatever he spoke about, I read this and I learn this and I implement it in my life. So if that has happened to me a few times, and whenever this has happened that the speaker sent out the material after the speech, I felt great that, yeah, this is a really good guy. He doesn't, like, our relationship doesn't end at the last word of the speech. Our relationship still continues. I'm still learning from him. So this is a very humble gesture in my opinion. And this feels great. So if you are a speaker, or if you are giving some business presentation, then please make sure that you do not read it from the PowerPoint. You do not waste the time of your audience. And also, if there is lots of data in your presentation, then make sure you either give them handouts, or you share that at the end of the presentation so that they can review. My last question.
Yes.
What is the worst way to end a speech? Most of the time, it's selling. Because at the end of every, like, some of the speakers keep saying that please buy my programs, they are great, they'll give you this, they'll give you that, for 30 minutes. And it's painful to hear the exactly same thing for 30 minutes. I know that as a speaker, some branding, some marketing should be done, and it's completely normal. But if you deliver value in the first 30-40 minutes of your speech, and at the end, if you just market for 2 minutes, in my opinion, that is enough. If you deliver the content nicely, audience will connect with you and they'll buy your programs if they like the first 30 or 40 minutes, whatever the duration is of your speech. So there is no need to end the last section of the speech, that 30 minutes. You do not have to just keep saying, please buy my programs. So this is, according to me, the worst way to end a speech or presentation. What is according to you? This can be a body language thing or a content thing. You can just say anything.
The worst way to end a presentation? Yeah, so I think I'm done. So that was the end of my presentation. So anybody have any questions? Yeah, no, you had a no. Okay, all right. So thank you so much for attending this, and there was no questions. So if you have any questions, you can always reach out back to me if you have a so something like that. Is that the worst way to end this is to not knowing that you're ending it. Once again, it comes to the lack of, I'm touching my face a lot today because it's a lot of mind-blowing things. I just, when you don't have the idea if it's done or not, you are the person who are in charge of this, that you are the, not the booker or whatever, who's, the boss or the leader, not that one, but you are the one who's delivering it, and you have no idea if the presentation is done. If you don't have any idea, they won't have any idea as the ones that are listening. And I guess I agree with you. I totally agree with you, what you're saying, that ending off, yeah, you can spend 2-3 minutes if you're a public speaker and you want to pitch your idea, you want to pitch your product, you want to pitch the next upsell. Of course, that's fine. But if, like you said, if you've spent so much time and you have done such a good prep, mental state, and delivery wise is all good, and you have a good structure to your talk, you don't need more than 2 or 3 minutes to pitch up the next product, because people will be, I'm buying whatever that person's selling. If it's a pair of shoes, I'll buy it. If it's a session with that person, I'll buy it. If that's just a direction that the leader is pointing out, I will follow that. See, so you don't, because you have to remember, you don't have to pitch just products. Whatever you're speaking about is a pitch. You're speaking an idea, a thought, a process, a direction that you're taking or you want somebody to embark on. So you're selling all the time. You don't have to spend the 30 minutes to sell, because you're doing it from the minute you say, welcome everyone. So today I'm going to have the great honor, and so on and so forth. That's when your pitching starts. So yeah, I would say not knowing that you're ending is one of the worst ways that I can have somebody end their delivery. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Alexander.
No worries.
I just had 5 questions for you today, maybe in our next interview, because I'm calling you again and again because I really like you and you're awesome. So in our next discussion,
I'm blushing here. Stop it. See, stop. Oh no.
because in our next discussion, I'll have harder questions for you. So until then, goodbye. And audience, please visit Alexander's LinkedIn profile or his website. I'll share the link in the description, and please connect with him if you want to learn more about public speaking and storytelling. He has written that on his t-shirt, and there is a story to this, storytelling.com. You can read that story on Alexander and David Phillips LinkedIn profile and Instagram and all that, because they are posting it everywhere. So thank you so much for watching this episode. We'll see you next time.
Bye.